My name is Ian, and this is why Abzu is a good game for busy people. What do Subnautica, the 2018 documentary Last Breath, and Wet Socks have in common? If your answer was stressful water things, then you are correct. Follow-up question, what does the previous set not have in common with the 2016 indie hit Abzu? If your answer was Abzu isn't a stressful water game, then you are just so smart and your report card is going on the fridge. In Abzu, you play as a diver who wakes up floating in the middle of an ocean. And divers don't waste time, so instead of trying to figure out where she is and how to get back to land, she, and by extension you, decide to go for a bit of a dive. Throughout the gorgeous water world, no, not that one, you'll uncover a narrative describing the remnants of an ancient Sumerian civilization and the mechanisms that destroyed them and the ocean around them. And, if you're lucky, you might even make some fish friends along the way. Abzu hits all the important marks of a good game for busy people. It's easy to play, mostly relaxing, and it's surprisingly deep. Scuba diving requires training. You gotta breathe properly, kick properly, float properly, and so many other things. But does this look like a scuba diver to you? I didn't think so. In contrast, Abzu has like two mechanics, swim and skitch on fish. Nothing too complex because the game isn't meant to be mechanically challenging. This simplicity lends itself well to the overall feeling of the game. You are but a simple underwater traveler investigating ruined Sumerian-inspired civilizations while drifting through caverns and underwater superhighways. The familiar controls focus the player on the experience rather than the mechanics. Now, I know you, my dear viewer, and I know you might have spent your day in Excel working up some big ol' spreadsheet, doing VLOOKUPs and whatnot. Or maybe you sat through an audit, or conducted an audit. Or did you submit an expense report maybe, my friend? Our daily lives are busy, and sometimes you don't want to come home to play games that have more stress. Abzu is a nearly stressless endeavor. You'll float slowly through fauna-filled caverns. You'll hold on to fish as they take you to your next Sumerian culture-inspired destination. You'll sit on what my editor calls menacing underwater shark statues, but I think they're kind of cute. I'll let you be the judge on that one. Now, I won't lie. There are some instances where there is a scary shark. It's true, I'm not gonna hide that, but what would a world with no stress be? And besides the shark, the game is peaceful, I promise. Look, I hit some writer's block at this point in the script. Happens to everyone. So I turned to my editor for support. Luckily, he has played this game, so what he said actually makes a lot of sense. So, Will, thank you for letting me plagiarize your thoughts. Abzu cuts deep by delivering an experience that conjoins a dreamlike primordial ocean with environmental and modern human themes. This simple yet elegant beauty of the world design deepens the feeling of restoration as you, the player, move from region to region. The main tension, that cranky shark, serves to highlight the human tendency to fear and avoid the unknown, even if there's nothing to actually be afraid of. In Will's own words, that Abzu manages to be both simple and relaxing, as well as heartfelt and complex in its themes, is what elevates it to a great game in my mind. And if I was going to talk about a third point, that's what it would be. The end they weren't his words, I changed those a little bit. Thanks, Will, for sharing your thoughts with me, and now for the whole wide world web. It was at this point in the script editing that Will actually turned off his heartfelt comments and reverted to his goofy bits and requested a shout out for his dad. So this one's for you, Larry. Thanks to Will's dad, I got scuba certified this summer, so maybe I'm a little biased about my love for this game, but I just love the idea of floating around underwater and letting the world sort of move around you. There's a whole unexplored world under the waves that we rarely get to explore, and as a result, Abzu has me hooked. Like other games I've recommended in this series, I'm a real sucker for a game that immerses me in its world. And Abzu does that very well. You wallow in whales wistfully wandering below the waves. You're drenched in dolphins dipping, diving, and dashing across coral reefs. You're sprinkled with sea creatures sputtering and spinning across the seascape. Sometimes I lose myself completely and just sort of wander the environs looking at interesting fauna and pretty fish until my wife tells me I need to go to bed and I've been staring at the screen for days. Anyway, Abzu is a game that can just take you under its fin for a while. I think it's a great pot of coffee on a Sunday morning game. I filled up my carafe, sat in my chair, and cruised around the ocean. I never felt bad sitting and sipping because the game wasn't really putting me under threat. I could just look at fish as they swam around. And if it does put you under threat, it's obvious. The simplicity and the beauty of Abzu is what makes it desirable for busy people who are just looking for a little retreat after stressful days. If that sounds like you, check it out. If not, check out my channel for other games I've recommended for busy people. If you want to keep up to date with those videos, hey, you know which button to click. All in all, I give Abzu 5 shark statues out of 5 shark statues. Highly recommended.